that might have been the quickest transition into mission we've ever had. And that's because we're coming back with even more monkeys and, of course, even more balls. Remember, before we get into this one, we are, of course, trying to raise money for Special Effect, a charity that helps the lives of disabled children through the use of technology and video games. So if you can give any money at all, it will be incredibly welcome. Our current total is £365.48, which is pretty crazy. Anyway, I'll hand you back over to Amoeba to take us on a beautiful journey of monkeys and balls.
Alright, speaking of donations, I believe Mr. Neko here has said that he's going to pop in £1 for every time I die. Die lots. I'll match that as well. So I have an incentive, if I don't want to be poor, to not die. So, 3, 2, 1, go. You may notice this looks startlingly like the run I just did, except it's not, because it's a ROM hack. So, same principle as the last run, but with 100 brand new stages. I'm going to shout out the developer Bytes SMB. This is the best ROM hack. This was the best ROM hack that had ever been done when it came out, and that was about a year ago, and it's still the best ROM hack.
Yeah,
he put so much work into this.
He did an amazing job with this. So much fun to play through.
Yeah. The difficulty level compared to the original game is probably a few steps up, so every world's like a couple of difficulties harder than the original game. So when we get to World 10, you can expect some crap. it's hell. World 10 in this pack is a nightmare. But yeah, everything that applies to the other run applies to this. I will point out that this is the first time I've ever played this game in colour, because I've had to use a PAL TV, and I'm used to running it in black and white. So if I die a lot, that's my John. Yeah, World 1, pretty similar to the regular games World 1. We actually get a pause frame on this stage, if we can hit it. And then I got ruined by collision at the end. So that's £2.
Yeah, I need to keep track of this.
You need to keep track. Count on your fingers.
My count for both of us, yeah.
No, just count the deaths and then do an equal amount. So Monkey Ball only really got custom levels a couple of years ago, maybe 3. So it's a fairly new thing in development. There's been a lot of good ones and far more bad ones. I think we've had 2 community packs so far, which is a collection of all the good stages that the community's created. Definitely check those out as well. There's probably been a lot more good packs released since this one. This pack really set the bar of what a mod pack should look like. Just crisp, clean, good music. Not stupid stage names. That's a real big one. Yeah, even things like the skyboxes, so the backgrounds were all designed by Bytes. Bit of a labour of love for this. First difficult stage of the run, mostly because I do a stupid strat on it. I screwed up, so we're fine. We'll just do the easy strat, never mind. All part of my plan. Yeah, the run for this will be slightly shorter, hopefully, than the last one I did, because there's mostly short stages. The only long exit game. You get to see another example of what I explained last run. That's the extra menu that shouldn't be there. You shouldn't be able to pause on the save game menu. This stage sucks. In fact, this stage was so difficult in the first release of the pack that Bytes did, he had to make it easier, and it's still difficult. This one's kind of precise. The further back... landed too far forward. too far back. The further back you land on this, the faster you go, but if you land too far back, your bounce is too low, like I did on the first attempt, and you fall below the platform. I'm going to use a pause frame on this stage, not for positioning, but just for timing. It's a 91. That should line the doors up quite nicely. Wonderful. That was a lot harder than it looked. You've got to know where the doors are before you're there. You've got to be able to predict. Well, you've got to, not predict, but you've got to be familiar with the stage to position yourself correctly. How many deaths are we up to?
2 at the moment.
2. Damn. So this stage could be where we get a few more, because it's another pause strat. Yeah, that's 1.
Right. 3, 4.
I don't know what happened. Alright, we're just doing it normally. I can't afford this. I don't know what happened there. We had the frame on the second one. I'm gonna blame rust. Yeah. All the colours. I'm so used to seeing my life in black and white. This is blinding. Wow. Hope we got deep pockets. This is a bit of a shame actually. World 3 is the easiest world. Or the most consistent at least. Go for a little time saver here. We'd normally just hold up, but I'll do a little boost. That should save us. Yeah. So it gives us a smaller jump off that second platform. Gets us into the goal earlier. I'm kind of like awestruck by this run. I didn't realise how colourful this game was. Really it's not really throwing me off, but it's kind of eye-opening. This is a very blue world. There's mostly fairly consistent stages here. Not a lot to talk about. We won't boost on this stage just because the ramp ends up on a nicer cycle if we don't. I'll wait slightly at the start of this stage just so that the hammers get out of the way. It's the slightest wait. Oh, that wasn't enough. Nice.
6.
I heard the judging me in your voice there.
I thought I could trust you.
That's right, we'll both be poor together. This is a really convenient strat. This stage is a nightmare otherwise. But that pillar just lines up nicely. You may notice that we're going to do all the stages in order in this run. The reason for that is because it's an ISO hack. It's basically loading off of a memory stick, so the cutscenes load instantly anyway, so there's no real time to save on loading. We use a pause frame here for consistency. I didn't hit it, so now we get to play with collision. That's not good. Didn't die, but that stage is a bit of a nightmare, just because collision can throw you wherever. This stage can suck, because if you get stuck in the divots, it costs loads of time to wait for them to rise again. We did that pretty well. So similar to the base game, World 4 is where the difficulty ramps up, especially in the later stages of World 4. There's a few really difficult strats coming up. Shoutouts to launchers being exactly the same stage in this pack as it is in the original. This is a fun stage. It doesn't look like much, but this is quite a fun strat to do. Don't know why. This is the hardest strat in the run. Positioning, timing, the whole lot. And we got it. Cool. Ah, no I didn't. So this stage is just a nightmare because you've got to be going at full speed to make that jump, but then you go in at full speed and you've got a very small ramp to slow down on. It's also dropping out from underneath you. It's just awful. This is a pretty strat. I wasn't just waiting at the start there just for the hell of it. Are we up to 7 already?
Yeah. Not looking forward to World 10 at this rate.
8. That's what I get for being cocky. Sorry, dude.
It's alright. All for a good cause.
Good to see I couldn't have 2 good runs. I'm only allowed 1. Another timing strat here. I'm just going to wait for a second. And that lines up nicely. I was actually slightly early there. Shout outs to Mario Sunshine. This one's, although it doesn't look like much, is probably the hardest stage in this world. Got it. Just because of the way the goal moves, it just makes aiming for it slightly awkward. Another timing based strat here, just to get consistent collision. This stage sucks. I hate you bites. I'd hate the stage. I always die to it. I got it. Hey, love your bites. Hope you're watching. This is another one. The goal's just going to float about for a bit. So to save the frames, we're just going to sit at the back and wait for 56.5. Saves about a 10th of a second. This stage had a pause strat for the longest time, and then I stole this strat straight from Jeff.
Current world record holder of this character,
yes. It's a really astoundingly good run as well.
Yeah, you got it like a week or 2 ago, wasn't it?
A little bit longer. He got it before, because he did the run at GDQ, and I'm fairly sure he got it before then. It's a really clean. I think he dies once, so it would only cost you £1 if Jeff was here. World 6 isn't too bad difficulty wise, and then it really kicks in from World 7. You get to see some of the pretty level design in this one. So things like those animations it's not something that a lot of custom level makers have implemented very well. Also, that cycle works out really nicely for playing the stage, which is a difficult thing to do. It might be a first frame. It wasn't, alright. There was a chance there that I'd paused first frame, we'd broken the goal tape, in which case I would have just had to play the stage again. It's a shame they're not here, but shout outs to the Jenga boys.
Jenga. It's the competitive Jenga I've asked for.
It's a really nice pause strat, saves 6 or 7 seconds. Normally you just have to wait for the Jenga tower to fall down and you climb up the pieces. Actually not the most interesting stage to play casually, but it's a bit of a triumph of stage design that they were able to do it in the first place. There's only one frame that works for this stage, and it's so much faster than just playing the stage too casual. This is a really, really fun stage, just in general to play. You can go really fast, it's such a massive stage. Do this specifically just for consistency. But I really enjoyed just playing around. Okay. I really enjoyed playing around with this stage when I first played the pack. I hate it now. I don't know what that was. I was robbed.
It's the goalpost.
The annoying thing about Collision is as well that half the time if you're travelling that fast and you go through the goalpost, you will literally just go through it and break the goal tape. The game doesn't register the goalpost as being there because you're going that fast. So Collision wasn't kind to me there. And this is where the difficulty ramps up. I didn't get the frame, so we just have to play the stage casually, like plebs.
I was not having a fun time there.
I didn't want to say anything, I was really concentrating there. That is not the easiest stage. The pause frame I was going for just sets it up so you can skip along the middle sections without having to do the difficult stuff. That's a surprisingly difficult adjustment. This stage has a frame on it. It's a single frame, but it's basically worth resetting over. Nah, we got it. It skips 3/4 of the stage. That middle section takes forever. This is a stage that has a triple frame perfect pause strat, but that's gross, so we'll just play the stage. Wow, 45 is really nice. Clips the edge on the second to last platform. Okay. This is another stage that's really fun, especially this strat, because it's the fastest way you can do it. You just end up gaining so much speed. Have I screwed that up? I may have screwed that up. Guess what?
11.
That's 11. It's weird, I'm screwing up all the easy ones. Because we need them. Oh my god. Please. I like this strat. I like this stage. Why are you doing this to me? Alright, we got it. This is an actual difficult one, so a death there is kind of expected. You have to grind along the edge of that rising platform. No, please.
Save it, save
Please.
it, save it.
Please, come on. Where is it? Yes!
Oh.
We're a pound richer. I'm really sorry, I don't know why this is going so terrible.
Nah, that's fine.
I'm stuck. I'm still stuck. Alright. So World 7's kind of my nemesis world. I hate that world. World 8's very pretty. Found some extra frames that work here as well. But we've got the nice one anyway. OO's the best one. It's another stage that if you play it through properly takes at least another 10 seconds. Huh? I can just see your fingers going up in the corner. It's like everyone's a mark of shame. So I don't know why that last one didn't work. That strat normally works fine every time. This is a difficult one. And then I get that first try. There'll be another stage coming up that looks very similar to that in terms of strat.
Getting the time in for both of them is a little bit awkward if you don't know what you're doing.
It's just the fact you've got to turn around on yourself, and the camera doesn't want to play ball when you're doing that.
Yeah.
Play ball. So this is going to look weird, but this stage sucks for collision. So just fast pausing through it allows me to react to any wacky, wavy, inflatable arc flailing tubeman. I don't know. That's the other one that looks very similar to Flipside. That was also a very difficult strat. So it was weird that I died to the really easy stage. And I got both of those. This is another stage where I found a backup frame. If we miss 76, we'll go for 73. I'll not get either of them. Okay. 76. Bit of a shame I didn't get 73 because you get green gold with it. Ow. Alright, we're doing 73 now. Alright, and then I accidentally. I don't know how this is happening. Yeah, we're going to pull it back. We're going to get a perfect world 9 and 10. That's how it's going to happen. Spiral Tower sucks. If you catch the edges of any of these platforms, when you fall off, it'll just spit you out. So you have to land dead on the flat sections. It looks a little sketchy when you do that stage, but this is normally a very long stage. This one almost had a hold up and win strat. Just got to adjust at the end. This is a really fun stage to do quickly, if I can. Alright, that counts. It's stupid and it works. It ain't stupid. And I hate that Bytes did this. As I said in the last run, double spiral is possibly the worst stage in the run. So Bytes took a spiral out and then sped the other one up twice as fast. So that stage sucks. And if you remember, I said, remember this stage for the next run. This is the stage. Exactly the same as Beehive, except you made the end rise and fall, which makes it the hardest stage in this world, and probably one of the hardest in the run. That strat that I did is not consistent. You just kind of have to hope that it works. Shoutouts to Breakfast. And this would have been a very difficult stage as well. But there's another one with a hold up and almost win. You just get popped up at the end. I moved out the way there to avoid the party bell. If you just land on it from above, it nearly always kills you. I think that was a deathless world 9. I don't think that cost us anything.
Yeah, no, I didn't count any deaths that world, so.
And then shoutouts to Super Mario 64. So this is World 10, this is where I said the difficulty really ramps up. This stage is a nightmare, casually. Pretty consistent strat, speedrun wise. And then this one. I hate this stage with an absolute passion.
Right, gonna get a little bit spooked.
You were about to spend a lot of money, my friend, is what's gonna happen. pause buffer like a pansy because collision hates us. Ooh, that was weird. Alright. So that's the panic stage. We hate that stage. I got through it. And first try lost. This is a really fun stage. There's absolutely no way to cheese this. You just have to be good at this. You have to know how the stage works and how to do it. There's a lot of pause frames in this pack because of how difficult the stages are, but that is just execution. And then on the complete flip side, this is a very difficult stage that we're completely going to cheese with pause frames. The original version that Bytes did for this stage in the first pack he released was so difficult that he had to make it easier. Brackets was just nuts. Yeah. I missed that. Don't really need to go for this frame. It just makes it a little bit more consistent. If you get it. And then this is the biggest skip in any stage. This is a kind of a bit of a shame because this is a really fun stage to play, just casually. It would probably make... it's a really difficult skip. It would make for a really good stage to do in a speedrun. But this annoyingly difficult skip exists. There we go. Got it. And even though I died twice there, that was still worth it to go for that. It still would have been faster than playing that stage through. It's a very long stage. This is the easiest stage in this world. And again, similarly to the original games, just to lull you into a false sense of security. Because 10-10 is coming.
Sorry for headphone users.
And this thing, I mean, look at it, for starters. I'm going to do an early cycle and it's still going to take me 40 seconds to beat this stage. Casually, it's normally a 50-second stage. If you, well, the first 100 or so attempts you try it, you'll just time out because it's so long. Falling off of any part of it is just rip. You can fall off upper bits to lower bits, but if you fall down to lower bits, you don't have enough time left to beat the stage. It's full of curved wires like that. This is the cycle skip. Normally you just ride that outer ring to the edge. I'm going to pansy this wire. And time's going to break the goal tape. Time. That was a really, really sketchy start to that run. Like the first 6 worlds were terrible. But those last 2 worlds went really well. So I'm not particularly too mad about that.
How do you think you did?
28 something.
27?
Okay.
06.
A little disappointed it's not sub 27, but that's still okay. I'm still glad. Still happy with that one. Thanks guys for joining me. How much money do I owe?
19 deaths I counted, so...
Ooh.
We're poor. You're getting 38 quid later on.
Nice.
Because I suck. Why couldn't we done it for the other one?
I don't know.
I specifically said this one because we wouldn't be able to afford it across both, and that I would die in the other one more anyway. So I died in this one loads. But yeah, again, shout outs to Bytes SMB, who's the developer for this pack. He's also developing a PC game called Rolled Out, which is basically Monkey Ball for PC. Definitely check that out. I think it's in alpha stage, but it's been greenlit on Steam. So yeah, thanks very much for having me, guys.
Well, thanks very much for coming down. I hope you enjoyed your Super Monkey Ball block. I hope all of you viewers did too.